God, you get loads watching.
Sometimes.
Oh, God.
Oh, you're getting nervous.
Yeah, they'll all know I've got a funny phone.
You're live now. You can see you now, you can't see me now. Oh. Gets hot in here, doesn't it? Gets hot, doesn't it? I'm going to share it. Look, I'm going to share it now. Do you want me to tag you in it? Do you want me to tag you in it?
Oh.
Do you want me to tag you in the video?
Yes.
Oh, there's 3 people there. Oh, just come on now. Who's with us? Hello? I'm going to try and invite people as well. Turn my volume down. Hi Tina, hi Elaine. It's quite interesting, this show actually, and it's quite shocking as well. I'm like gobsmacked at hearing all about this campaign about Sling the Mesh, something I'd never heard of till you told me, wasn't it, Maxine?
Yes, correct, Lynn.
Hi Mark! Just about to go live on air.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, Mark's in Towing. Hi Jambo!
Hello, Jumbo.
Oh. Can we get the comments from there as well? Because sometimes I don't see them all. Ready? We're here. You probably can hear the fan in the background. We're live, we're on Loose Ladies, and my guest today is the lovely Maxine. She's here to talk about a campaign I hadn't actually heard about, and I checked it out and I was horrified. I don't know how to describe it. I was actually shocked, and it's hard to take in. The campaign is called Sling the Mesh, and there's a picture at the back of Maxine there which shows you the mesh and the hooks of how it's put in, and people are probably tuned in thinking, what's that all about? So Maxine's going to explain.
I certainly will, Lynn. It's called the TVT, and what TVT stands for is tension-free vaginal tape. So lots of women have, you know, suffered with stress incontinence or after having children. you know, they might cough, sneeze and trickle a little. And 7 years ago I went to the hospital and the surgeon suggested a TVT. He said it's a relatively new operation, successful, brilliant results, because it stops the incontinence. So I thought, oh great, I'll be a new woman. So I had the operation 7 years ago, June the 16th, and yeah, it was successful. But then you start getting complications either straight away or after about 5 years. So it can leave women, they've lost their bladders, their bowels, their sex lives. There's lots and lots of complications to having the TVT.
I've just read some of the information about how some of the women have been affected, and there's a lady I've just read about that's been left, she's in a wheelchair now because of it.
Yes.
There's another lady that's had the removal done, which is meant to be pretty hard to do, or they can't.
There's not many surgeons, Link, that can remove the mesh. There's very few surgeons. There's a surgeon in London, Harley Street. There's another surgeon in Manchester. Because what happens is the mesh is made out of plastic, polypropylene. So it can deteriorate in the body and then it can cut through organs. It can also come down into the vagina and it can cut through because it degrades. So then it feels like cheese wire or it feels like glass cutting through you, and then you can get pain down the right hand side of your body. It can cause lots and lots of complications, and many women are having these complications. There's over 2,000 women now that have joined the Mesh campaign, which was set up 2 years ago by Kath Sampson.
What? I'd never heard of it before, and you like inboxed me, and then I kind of checked it out, and it was a lot to take in, because obviously I've heard of incontinence and females, if they have babies and whatnot, it can happen to quite a lot. It's not like an unusual thing to happen, is it?
No, of course not. There's lots of people that suffer with incontinence, and they do struggle with it, or they might not go to the doctors or the hospital, and they may be coughing, sneezing and thinking, oh, you know, it's only minor problem, but it can get you down because it's constantly, and it stops you doing things if you've got young children, you know, like going on the trampoline.
Oh.
Things like that.
So so they fit this mesh to does it stop the incontinence?
Yes,
just prevent it.
It stops it. The mesh takes about 30 minutes to put in the body, whereas the old stitch, nip and tuck, whatever it used to be called, used to take 3 to 4 hours. So this takes between 15 and 20 minutes, and then they put the hooks in, and then they thread the mesh through. You can actually see this operation if you Google, you know, TVT on Google or YouTube, and it will show you the actual operation. I think looking at that itself is enough to put anybody off. They're calling the operation barbaric. Yeah, wash your legs, Lynn.
I am. We'll take a short break and I'm going to play a little bit of Ollie Murs, and this is Stevie Knows. See, I told you wouldn't be nervous. We're getting little likes across the page. Lynn says, no way, it sounds painful. It's horrific.
It is painful.
I googled it, Lynn, and I just couldn't believe it. I was a bit like, what? It's like a lot to take in.
Yeah, if you Google it, I was off work for 5 weeks having this operation, and you couldn't walk. So even having the operation was very painful. So I couldn't walk for a while, and I was off for 5 weeks with this. And obviously you do start healing, but then further down the line, you start getting complications, and you're thinking, what's wrong with me? What's going on now? Because the body can reject it as well, but you can't get rid of it because it's embedded in you. So it is quite horrific. So, you know, if anybody is suffering stress incontinence, please do your homework. You know, look at everything, read all the risks, read all the complications, and make the correct decision.
Yeah.
But it's banned in Scotland.
Lynn just said, "Oh my God," and Jambo said, "I'm not being rude or anything, but I don't really need to hear about this." Well, that's okay. Just don't tune in and listen.
Yeah.
I'm not making you listen.
It's just making people aware.
It's just making people aware. It's that serious, and it needs to, like, people need to know.
Yeah. It's just making people aware that this is a problem.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting the right information, you know, you could
end
go and
up
get the
in a
TBT,
wheelchair, or
and you could end up with all the complications. So it's making people aware, just like Sling The Mesh campaign on the internet. Even, you know,
I think it's important to raise awareness of something so serious and life-changing and life-threatening.
Exactly. I mean, it was on the Victoria Derbyshire show in April 2017 this year. So they were making everybody aware of it. Because I think the more people that are made aware, they can make a decision, a choice, can't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to have it done.
No.
Scary, even hearing about it. Sharon said, "I need this doing, I'm scared though."
She's scared.
Yeah.
Has she been offered the TVT?
Have you been offered the TVT, Sharon? Yeah, we're going back live on radio now. I'll keep my eye on that.
Just look for it.
Oh, a little bit of volume there. We're back with Maxine, and we're live on Loose Ladies on Radio D-Side. It's Father's Day, but we're talking about a very serious female subject, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Just to make people aware, you know, if they are suffering with stress incontinence, do your homework, do your research.
Yeah.
You know, look for other alternatives before going through this operation, which has been suspended in Scotland, banned in America. It's happening. There's a lot of women in Ireland suffering after having the mesh implant, and there's not enough surgeons that can remove the mesh, because once it's in you for life. So it's just raising awareness. I really do wish, Lynn, that I was made aware before I had this TV done.
Definitely.
7 years ago. I wish I'd have done my homework. I wish I'd have known all these complications beforehand, because apparently the complications were there then. So if I'd have known, I'd have obviously, you know, took a different decision.
Lynn said she's never heard of it until now, and Sharon said yes. Did you say you've been offered it? She said yes. We asked if she'd been offered it, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say to her to, you know, really think before you have this, and do your homework, do all your research, and look for other options.
And you can Google, can't you, Sling The Mesh campaign?
Yes, you can Google Sling The Mesh, and that's been going for 2 years now. It's got over 2,000 ladies who were suffering with the mesh implants.
So this operation is meant to be a way of cutting costs and obviously time.
Yes, it takes between 15 and 20 minutes to perform the operation, where the other operation from years ago that they used to do, what was it called? Hitch and stitch. That can take between 3 and 4 hours. So it's specialised, you know, surgeon that needs to do that. So that's the old-fashioned way of doing it, but it's very time-consuming.
But in the long run, all these ladies are getting so poorly. They're being crippled by it. They're not ruining their sex life. They can't. That's just out of the question. The walking sticks, the pain down their side. They're
suffering with nerve pain. The mesh, when the mesh erodes, that's when they're getting pain in the vagina. So it feels like it's cutting through them, or it feels like razor blades. Some ladies have said it feels like cheese wire cutting through them. The nerve pain they're getting, the pain in the groin. So
in the long run, it's not saving any money, isn't it? Because these ladies are going to have to take painkillers, I suppose other medication.
And then they become addicted to painkillers. So it's just a vicious circle. So then they have to try and, you know, get this mesh out. They have to look for a surgeon that can remove the mesh. There's one in London and Manchester. There's 2 I know of.
And if you were to pay private,
it would cost about £12,000, between 12 and 15,000
people
for the
just
mesh
haven't
to
got
be
that money,
removed.
have they?
Of course not. No, definitely not. They have to take the mesh out once it's eroding through the body, because it's causing lots of problems. It can cut through, you know, vital organs. Like I say, people have lost their sex lives, the bladders, the bowels, ended up in wheelchairs. It's been in the Guardian. There's been a big write-up in the Daily Mail only a few weeks ago. So, you know, it's quite big at the moment, or just raising all the awareness at the moment. If anybody's suffering with stress incontinence, please do your homework.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the idea of penny pinching and saving money is actually costing them
a lot more in the
really,
long
if
run.
they put it in and then you get all these problems and it erodes or whatever, or you can't walk, it's their fault, isn't it, really? They shouldn't really be using it. So why they should be taking it out, not making people pay.
Exactly. I don't think they realise the extent of what this is causing. Lots of women have been suffering in silence, not knowing it's been the mesh or their TVT tape.
I suppose, though, it's embarrassing, isn't it? It's like an embarrassing thing to talk about. It's not just you'd have your coffee and the one said, by the way, I've got pain down there.
Exactly.
It's a bit like, oh, do I tell anyone?
It's like a taboo subject, isn't it? But, you know, they've all been like suffering in silence. And I think we still would have been suffering in silence if it wasn't for the internet. Because I got sent a link, so I didn't know anything about this link, only, you know, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. And then once I googled Sling The Mesh, I was shocked at how many ladies had all the same symptoms that I was suffering. And all different parts of the country, we all had the same symptoms. So surely they've got to stand up and listen. There's too many women out there suffering, so they've got to take note.
And how was it? Was it like tested or tried in any way?
As far as I'm aware, it was only tested on a few animals, and obviously animals can't tell you about their sex lives and pain, so that's how I believe it was tested on, and it wasn't tested for a long time, so it was a short trial or a short test. So, you know, it needs more testing.
Oh no.
And apparently to remove the mesh, they say it's like removing chewing gum from hair, because it's embedded in all your nerves and tendons go knit through the mesh. So it's like removing chewing gum.
I just don't see why you'd put something like that in someone's body.
I know.
It's just disgusting that
well,
they're using it.
They're calling it barbaric. The Welsh MP, Owen Smith, said it's the worst health scandal he's seen in his time of politics. So
hopefully then, if enough awareness and people know, they're going to be forced to stop doing it.
Hopefully, yes. Like, they've suspended it in Scotland, it's banned in America, Australia, I think it's suspended there, I'm not too sure, but it's still happening in England and Wales.
So it's a worldwide kind of solution that they're using?
Yes, yeah, it is used all over the place.
Lynn said it is barbaric, it's horrific. I can't believe it.
No, it's shocking. And I mean, they're doing studies now, they're researching it. I think there's a big meeting taking place in America with all surgeons. I think that's going to be taking place over the next few weeks. So let's see what happens there. So they're all getting their heads together.
Shoo, let's have a quick break. We'll have a little bit of Little Mix, and this is Love Me Like You. Scary, isn't it?
It is scary.
Wow, scary.
It is, because, you know, it's only now coming into the newspapers. So, very scary.
Horrific.
So it's just hoping people think now.
Yeah, I'll go and check that out.
Before they, you know.
Because it probably takes a lot of, it's not something easy. I don't think I could just like go to the doctors, you know, like you've got a cold and you say, oh, I've got a cold. It's not like something easy to go and talk about, I don't think.
No, it's difficult.
It's hard in itself,
personal,
isn't it? And then to have all that trouble after as well.
Mm. And then you don't know if it is the mesh or if it's not. And then to find out that, oh my God, there's people all over the world with the same symptoms as myself.
Sharon said I thought it'd be a solution back to the drawing board, I guess. And Lynn said, oh my God, I feel sorry for people with this.
Yeah, you really got to do your homework. Don't rush into getting this. Look for other solutions. The campaign Sling the Mesh will give you lots and lots of advice.
Is there
on
people
things.
big contact on
yes,
there?
There is.
Sure I've seen it.
Yes, there's lots of contacts on there. What's her name? Yeah, Kath Sanson, who started Sling the Mesh. She set that up in June 2015. She will give you lots and lots of advice, other alternatives besides the TVT or besides mesh. She said mesh should not be in the body at all, with it being plastic.
Oh my God. I can't believe they're still offering it, people.
Because it's a quick fix, but in the long run...
It's not, is it?
It's
not.
not.
I mean, if you're off work, you can only be off for so long, can't you, with them paying you like sick pay, and then obviously you'd have to go on statutory sick pay or something, so... And then if you can't go back, and then you've got to rely on benefits...
Exactly.
It's going to cost a fortune, and then they're whinging about people going on to benefits.
And through no fault of your own.
Crazy.
So in the long run, it's going to cost them more money.
Thousands, millions. Yeah,
I'll talk about the yellow card. There's a yellow card. Do you want me to talk about the yellow card?
Yeah, we'll go back on now.
There's a yellow card campaign. And the yellow card campaign, it's targeting under-reporting. So anybody in the world now that's had a TVT registers with the yellow card, and that's all on the internet as well. You do it through the internet.
Ready? And we're back. We're still here with Maxine. Well, I am. I'm on my own tonight. I'm still here with the lovely Maxine. Talking about a very, very serious and delicate, really, subject, isn't it? It's not something easy to talk about for a lot of people.
No, of course it isn't.
But we've had messages through of Sharon who said she thought it would be a solution, but she's going to go back to the drawing board now.
Great. Yeah, do your homework, Sharon. Just, you know, if you get in touch with Sling the Mesh campaign, there's lots of information on there. There's lots of good advice.
Is there other things, like other operations to help people that don't want the mesh, or is that the only option?
No, there's an operation called a hitch and stitch.
That's the old
way.
So can you request that then?
I'm not sure, but it's worth asking the consultant or
or
asking your
demanding
doctor if you can have the old operation the old way. I know it takes between 3 and 4 hours to have that operation, but it's worth asking either your doctor or your consultant if that's a possibility. But Sling the Mesh campaign will give you lots of great advice and lots of other alternatives. They'll give you a website that you can use machines to help with stress incontinence.
Oh, that's really good.
It's a really useful site.
Brilliant. I can post information up on the Loose Ladies page as well when we go off there. I can put anything, or if you contact me and want me to put you in touch with Maxine, I can put you in touch and she can send you over any help that she's got.
Yeah, that's brilliant, because what they're also doing, Lynn, they're calling, there's a data and information subgroup, and it's called the Yellow Card. So what this is, you sign up with a yellow card on the internet again. It's just reporting people who have got the mesh in different parts of the world, in parts of the country.
So is it like a log?
It's a log, yes. So because there's lots of under-reporting going on, people aren't reporting, you know, if they've got anything wrong with the mesh, it's not getting reported. So this yellow card, you give all your information, and you just sign up with the yellow card, and you tell them your symptoms, you tell them when you have the mesh, so then they'll collate all this information together. So it's worth going on the yellow card campaign. That's all on the internet as well, and they just Google yellow card.
Sharon said she's going to check the website out, and she said thank you and take care.
Oh, brilliant, thank you. That's great.
Well, even if it helps just one person, that's...
Exactly, Lynn. If it helps one person,
Going
it's
through all
one
that.
person less
Going
that's
through all
going to
that
have
struggle.
problems, either, you know, 5 years down the line or 2 years. You know, some people have problems straight away and they have to have it removed. Some people suffer further down the line, but then the complications can be quite tragic. You know, there can be horrific problems. So that's one person saved from having this.
Definitely.
This
I'm still stunned, and it's hard to take in that they would put something in someone's body that erodes
Yeah.
and can stick into other organs and nerves. It's just like...
It's horrifying.
It is. It's like torture. It's like...
Yeah. Exactly, because the pain that you get, it's like razor blades cutting through you, or like a cheese wire, and then you struggle walking. You know, I struggle sitting down for long periods of time because of the pain in the buttocks. You get pain down the right side, so you can get lots of complications, and then you think you're going mad because you're wondering what it is that's happening in your body. It's like, what's going on, or what's this
Lynch
now?
said, oh my God, this shouldn't be happening. Too right, it shouldn't. I just...
No, that's why it's banned in
Can't believe
America, suspended in Scotland, and hopefully the more we make people aware of this, they've got to...
How long, roughly, do you reckon they've been using this mesh way?
I think it's about 20 years.
Really?
I think apparently they've known that there has been high risks. You know, even when I had mine put in 2010, I think they were aware of the risks then. But
And
they're just not making the patients, so I wasn't aware of the risks. Even though I'd signed consent for the operation, I wasn't aware of the risks that could happen afterwards.
Do they not talk you through risks before you sign? No.
Not on the complications that you would receive afterwards. Obviously they talk about the risks going under anaesthetic and what can happen as they're doing the operation, but it's the risks that can happen 5 years down the line. It's like you wasn't aware that, you know, you may lose your sex life because, you know, of really bad intense pain. Obviously the mesh cutting through your organs and cutting through. So, you know, I think if I'd have been aware of that, I don't think I'd have gone through with it.
So they don't say to you like, kind of like an aftercare where, right, okay, this is what you need to look at. If you get this pain here or you get stabbing pains down below, nothing like that?
No, but apparently now I think they're putting new patient leaflets together. That they are, you know, making people more aware. So I believe.
So you went in for the operation like 7 years ago. Thought that'd be it.
I thought it'd be great.
Fixed for life.
Yeah.
No one warned you about any pain or...
The only thing that I was aware of was that the mesh could drop down and it just needs a little trim, and that's how it was made to sound.
Oh,
not that the mesh could erode and cut through you. It was like, well, the mesh might drop down and it just needs a little trim. And then you'll be fine.
Like a simple, like, and then you're fine.
So apparently not. You get all these different complications, and there are all these ladies that are suffering out there. They're all suffering very similar complications.
Horrific.
So you haven't got one person that's saying this. That there's thousands saying, I've got this pain, I've got pain down the right side, I can't walk, I'm really struggling. Everybody's on this campaign have got the same or similar complications.
And all these ladies want it removing. But obviously there's not enough surgeons?
Miss O'Neill in London, she's one of the surgeons, urogynecologist, and she's doing these operations monthly, between 20 and 30 a month now she's seeing. So she had a little piece in the newspaper saying, you know, some of these surgeons are just offering this too easily. You know, look for another alternative rather than offering this straight away.
This gynae in London, do you have to pay if you go and see her?
She's private, but she also works from the NHS as well, so you can get an appointment with her or you can email her, and again you just Google her name, Miss O'Neill.
I suppose the waiting list is not a short.
No, I think you do have to wait quite a long time with it, because apparently she's inundated at the moment removing the mesh. And there's another lady in Manchester, Karen, the surname will come to me. She can remove the mesh as well.
So didn't you say earlier that if they remove it, they can never remove all of it? There's always a bit left.
Sometimes, apparently, they might not be able to get at some of the mesh because it might be too close to the nerves in the body. So then they'll have to leave that there, because obviously they don't want to make any more damage to the nerves than what's already been done. So sometimes there'll be little pieces of mesh in.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
And then that's there then, I suppose, forever, isn't it?
Forever. And then some of these ladies are saying, you know, they're suffering in pain, you know, for a long time, and then they can become addicted to the painkillers, and it's like, it's just ongoing.
I know the lady I read about here was only, I was lady at 41.
41.
I read about a lady that was, I think she was she 53?
Yes.
That's the lady that had it removed, 53. But there's still part of hers that's still there.
Yeah, they can't remove it all. This was in the Mail online, all this, and the Guardian only a couple of weeks ago. So there's lots of publicity coming out now, but you know, I'm thankful to Sling The Mesh, because it's all, they're all supporting each other, and they understand what you're going through, because they're going through similar. So you've got a really good support network there. So, you know, thankfully, thanks to Kath Sampson for setting that up.
There's a lady, she said she developed constant back and leg pain, and then she suffered from dizzy spells, and as if she was going to pass out every few months. Yeah. She'd get a urinary tract infection.
Yes.
Oh.
So there's a lot, isn't there? And you know, I don't know whether they were aware of all this. Well,
she said here, and this is it, that she put it down to getting older, which I suppose you would, wouldn't you? You think, oh, it's one of them things, I'm getting a bit older. And
yes, or you put a lot of the symptoms down to the menopause.
Yeah.
And it may not be. So again, you'll get something and you'll think, oh, that's nothing, or you'll just dismiss it. But it's about not dismissing it and get these checked out. You know, you've got to go for a scan.
This lady, she said that she's had the mesh removed, and she was told it was infected and covered in pus. That's actually,
it's horrific,
kill you, surely.
Absolutely horrific.
That could surely cause some sort of blood poison or septicemia, I would have thought.
It just doesn't bear thinking about, does it, now?
It's absolutely awful.
But you've got to go, you can go and get a special scan as well, and I think there's not many of these machines in the country. I think it's one in London, and it's to see where the mesh is, whether the mesh is moved when it's in your body. I'm not sure whether the MRI scans can pick it up, but there's a special translabial scan that can see the mesh inside. So it's worth, it's translabial ultrasound scan, and I think there's only one or two in the country. There's one in Croydon. So if you think you've got mesh erosion, it's worth going to get this scan and to see if the mesh has moved.
Linda said, yes, once you have it, it's too late though, like you said, it can be removed, but not all of it. They can't get it all out, is it?
As far as I'm aware, I think Miss O'Neill perhaps as...
This lady here said hers didn't come all out, some of it was
some
They
of it's
took
still
it out, but part of it's still in the vagina that can't be removed.
Exactly, and if you have to go for the operation, sometimes they just want to remove part of it. But Sling the Mesh campaign are saying no, go for full removal. Do not go for part of it removed because you end up with more problems. So she's saying go for full removal because that way you know hopefully you'll get back.
You've got to
to
hope
some
then that you've got
normality.
someone who knows exactly how to take it out properly.
You've got to do your research as well on the surgeons removing the mesh. So I've done the research, and that's it. Dr. Karen Ward is based in Manchester. Dr. El Neil is based in London, and she works from Harley Street and the NHS as well. So there's a couple there that I do know of, but there's not many surgeons that can remove the mesh. They can put it in, but they need to
fancy
specialise
fitting something that you can fit with ease, but you can't take out again.
Yes, you do.
That's
need
absolutely crazy.
it just
It makes no sense. Oh yeah, put it in, but I don't know how to take it out. Oh, that's okay then. Just slip it in anyway.
So that's
It just
quite,
doesn't make sense, does it?
No,
Surely, if you're trained to fit it, you should be trained to take it out.
that's what you'd like to think.
Because everything, there's a risk with anything, isn't there?
Exactly.
Problems.
But I think it was made not to come out. It was a permanent fixture for the stress incontinence. So I don't think people had thought, well, what happens if there is complications? Can we remove this? Can we take it out? How are we going to do it? I don't think it's been properly researched, and you know, they're finding.
Because with everything, there's a risk of a complication or an issue or a reaction, or
Yes.
there's always a risk, isn't there, with everything?
Of
So
course, of course.
to just think, oh no, it's okay, it's there permanent.
It's
What
quite
if someone was
frightening,
actually seriously allergic to whatever it's made of, and
which has happened, and then they have had to remove it straight away. So they may have had it in, you know, a couple of months and months, 6 months, and they've had to have it removed. So, and I
Awful.
think in that time, I don't think it would be embedded as much as somebody
yeah,
has
as the
had
years
it
go by, I should imagine it could get
it,
in everywhere.
it'd be worse to remove, I would imagine, after all that time. Yeah.
I can't even believe that they're still doing. I can't even believe they've been doing it. It's awful. I've never even heard. I just thought it was the same as it was years ago, the little tuck and nick thing.
Yeah. It is hard to believe that they are actually still doing it.
And I
yes.
did look at pictures. You know, I googled it,
Yeah.
and I looked at pictures, and I thought it looked like, you know, like it's like a cloth sack.
Yes.
I was like, ooh.
No, it doesn't look very nice. But again, you don't get to see that. When you're having the operation, they just tell you what you're having. You don't see any of these hooks. You don't see any of the mesh or anything. All I knew was TVT. I didn't know.
And you don't think to ask, do you? Because when you go for an operation, you kind of trust that you're going to be looked after. You can have the best care.
Yeah, because you think they know better. You know, they're
So
high.
you wouldn't think to say, oh, hang on a
qualified
minute,
skills.
can I just have a look what you're going to use? And, oh, can it do this? Oh, can it do that? Because you're just going to, oh, right, it's going to cure me this. Brilliant.
I think if we've seen that, I think we would be thinking differently.
That actually looks like something you
having
use
it
for
done.
fishing in the River Dee or something.
I think if we were to see that, or you
Or a
watched,
torture hook.
yeah, or if you watch the operation on YouTube, I think you'd be horrified, because again, don't watch that operation if you're squeamish or if you are going for a procedure, or do watch it because it is quite horrific. And then after the operation you think, gosh, why can't I walk? And it's because then hooks have gone into your, you know, your thighs, and
Oh.
then they're pulling the tape through. And they call it like the blind operation, because they're putting these in, and it's like working blind, because they've got to pull the tape, you know, just the right amount, so that,
With no camera in there or nothing.
not as far as I'm aware, they call it the blind operation.
Oh.
I suppose if you're having a local anaesthetic, then they do get you to cough, so then they know how far to pull the mesh either side to lift the bladder, to support it, so you stop.
So did they put you to sleep when you had yours done?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So then after the operation, you know, they won't release you until you can go to the toilet, And I thought, oh gosh, I can't go to the toilet. So if it was too tight, then they take you back into surgery to loosen it. Fortunately for me, I was okay and I was able to go. You know, I didn't have any complications for a few years. It's only over the past 3 years that I've started having complications, but not actually putting it down to the mesh. I thought, you know, you dismiss things or you don't think.
Yeah, it's like that lady said there, she just put it down to an age thing. Like, I'm getting older.
Yeah, you don't register that it may be, or it's a possibility, it could be the mesh. So, you know, I'm going through complications at the moment. I'm going for a scan and a camera. So we'll see what's going on. We'll see what all these problems are, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll have a quick break and we'll play a bit of the Sugar Babes, I think. Okay. This is About You Now. It's scary, isn't it? Oh my God.
Yeah, I've got, I'm trying on.
Lindsay, it's horrendous. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
It's scary, isn't it?
I know, I don't know where else I can talk about now.
It's terrifying, I can't believe it. I'm like, just stunned. Like,
well, it's just hopefully making people aware. If they're suffering with stress incontinence, please do your homework.
Oh, I know, it's scary. I think it's probably one of the most scariest things I've heard about. It's like horrific.
I'm just so thankful, Lynn, to Sling The Mesh campaign, because I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have got any support if it is the mesh that's causing my problems, because I can't say whether it is or not. I'm really not sure at this, you know, present time.
This lady, she went to the doctor about the terrible pain, and the doctor said it was in her head. Shit.
I know that lots of women are suffering, and they're either being prescribed painkillers or they're not listened to. And I think what it is, Lynn, when I've been going back and to the hospital, not one person has mentioned whether it could be the mesh. Not one. I'm not even registered with myself. So now it's just finding out if my problems relate to the mesh or if they don't. So I can't say whether they do. I don't know at this present time. I'm just going for a scan. I'm going for a camera up to see what's going on. So I'm hoping it's not the mesh.
It's a massive strain, like, on your mental health as well, something like this to someone, isn't it?
Because it gets you down, because you're always saying what if and is it,
and not knowing is like the worst thing ever, isn't it?
You know, is it the mesh? Isn't it the mesh? What if I wish I hadn't had this done? So it's like, is it or isn't it? I just want to know what's going on.
And then you've got to wait to know.
Yeah, and then if it is, it's then, what do I do next? What's the next steps for me? Do I have to go to London? Do I have to go to Manchester? Am I going to be off work longer? You know, it's quite scary.
Oh my God, it's awful.
I know. What am I going to talk about next? I know.
I can't believe it. It's awful.
I'm just trying to read if I can read something else that's... I don't know what else to say.
Ready? Look, a little bit of Sugar Babes. We're back. You're listening live to Loose Ladies on Radio D-Side. I'm live with Maxine. We've been talking about the Sling The Mesh campaign. We've got quite a few people interacting. Stephen, hello to you. Stephen said deepest sympathy to the victims of the London Tower block.
Oh, yes.
That was absolutely heartbreaking, horrendous. It's awful. I couldn't even believe when I seen that on the news.
That's it, words can't express, and also Manchester as well. I went to lay flowers in Manchester, and what was surreal there was there was lots of people there laying flowers, and it was so silent. It was so surreal, and you know, my heart goes out for all of them. It's
sad,
isn't it? You know, words can't express, can it, Lynn?
No, it's heartbreaking. Tracy, hi Tracy. Tracy's just joined us.
Hi Tracy.
It's more of a ladies' show today, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Even
though Mark's listening.
and Stephen's there.
And Stephen. Hello, Stephen.
But it is important. It's an important message to get out and raise awareness about this mesh. Hopefully, it would have helped quite a few people this evening.
I'm hoping so, because I just wish that, you know, in 2010 I'd have been a lot more aware of what was going on in the world and what was going on about this mesh, and they were having complications then but still going ahead with, you know, inserting the TVT, which they are to this day as well. Oh. So they're still putting the TVT in. Oh. So all I would like ladies to do is to, you know, research all about the TVT, ask lots of questions, ask about the complications, ask for a leaflet, ask what mesh it is, what it's made of, ask everything, because at the end of the day, it's your body. And I just feel like, or a lot of ladies have felt like they've been human guinea pigs.
I know, when I read about it, it just sounded, reading it, I thought, crikey, they're just like throwing anything in someone's body here. Well, I was like, do they even like know all the risks, or are they just testing it as they go along? There's the lady here I just read about. She said she's been to the doctors with pain. Yeah. And told it was in her head.
In her head. Now, how that is...
That's kind of mental abuse, that, isn't it?
That's just somebody not even listening to you either, is it? It's like, oh, go away. It's in you. How bad is that?
And it's awful having all these problems. Then you're finding out it's this mesh operation that was meant to be your saviour.
Yes.
Then you find out that it could get worse. It can all break up or stick into muscles or organs. Then you've got to wait and find out if someone can take it out, and they can't take it all out. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. And then you've got to go on a waiting list to wait for it all and have a scan and find out if it is really that causing the problem before they even put you on the list to take it out, and all that massive strain on your mental health. And massively.
All through an operation for stress incontinence.
So is this like life-changing serious stuff, isn't it?
It's horrifying, but it is for lots of women out there that
it must be driving women like insane with worry.
It must be, Lynn, definitely. I mean, you've got to find out what mesh is used, the serial number and the manufacturer.
Is there different ones?
Well, obviously I won't mention any companies, but the one in America that's been sued, the manufacturer for manufacturing the mesh, it was faulty mesh or something.
Oh my!
There was something wrong with the mesh. So that's why it's been really big in America. And let's believe that the mesh over in England or Wales is okay, but
I would,
you know, there's lots in Scotland, there's lots in Ireland, everywhere that it's just they're suffering with this mesh. So, as they say, it's polypropylene, which is of course plastic, and it shouldn't be in the body. No mesh should be in your body because your body can reject it. It can erode, it can cut through organs, you know, people have lost their bladders, their bowels, their sex lives.
And crippled!
Yeah, and these ladies have also felt ignored and helpless, and, you know, these operations do need to end, and I think a lot of women who have had the operation would say that. And so if somebody is going for this operation, please do your homework. It's just raising awareness people who are suffering with stress incontinence that there is another way.
Yeah, and I think it's important if you're sitting and you're watching or you're listening at home and you've had the operation and you're scared to go and speak to the doctor because it's quite an embarrassing thing, isn't it, to talk about. Some people wouldn't like to go and speak about. But if you are suffering, don't suffer in silence.
No, please don't. Please either contact myself, who's had the mesh, or contact Sling The Mesh campaign. The name's Kath Sampson, and she's very, very good. She puts lots of information up there on Sling The Mesh. And also join the Scotland one as well, because they've got a campaign on the internet as well. And it's Scotland Mesh Survivors of the Mesh in Scotland. And they will be very helpful as well. They will chat to you. They will just give you lots of information and put your mind at rest.
Because there must be people there that are suffering and maybe haven't realised it could be the mesh, or kind of know but don't want to go to the doctors on their own or don't want to speak about it.
Of course.
And it is important, isn't it, that you do get checked?
Very important. So if they are suffering with something, or they're getting pain in the groin or the leg or something, and they're not sure, just, you know, go on Sling the Mesh campaign, ask somebody there, because there's lots of support on that.
Yeah.
They're all supporting each other, because I think a lot of these women have felt totally alone.
Yeah.
And suffering in silence, and I was one of them. So I'm hoping that, you know, my symptoms and my complications are not the mesh, and I can't say that this time that they are, but I'm getting everything checked out, so I've got the ball rolling. You know, I've gone private to find out what this pain is, why I've got this, and hopefully I will be getting sorted pretty soon, and then I'll know what it is. But if anyone is unsure, please either go to your doctor, contact yourself, Lynn, or even, you know, me, or Sling the Mesh campaign, or Mesh Survivors of Scotland.
Tracy said, she said your site is very informative. I think she means the Sling the Mesh campaign.
Yes, yes, very. There's lots of information on there. You know, the lady that set it up, obviously, you know, had the mesh removed, and she'd gone through it as well. She was a reporter, so
yeah, I read she was a journalist.
She was a journalist, yeah. So she's done a lot to help women who are suffering in silence.
It's actually
so if anybody just wants to read Sling the Mesh campaign, you'll get lots of information there, and a lot more awareness and a lot more knowledge than I can give.
And also share the, if you could share the live feed on the bit, because we're live on Facebook as well as radio. So if you go over to the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Loose Ladies Live, there's a video on there you can share it about. If you can share it, spread the word of the campaign and awareness, that would be brilliant.
You know, it can just stop another lady going through this and having complications, you know, later down the line. Yeah, and then regret having the operation done. So, you know, obviously we're not telling people, I'm not telling you not to have it done, just do the research, check it out,
ask questions.
You know, ask the consultant, ask the doctor, just make sure you check everything else. You know, what Dream is saying, don't go and get it done, but just get all your information so you can make a decision that's right for you.
And if if you've got the mesh and you are suffering, make sure you go and get checked. If the doctor's telling you it's in your head, and you know the pain's not in your head, just ask to see another doctor, or
it's just keep in there and keep persistent, and saying, you know, just keep a log or a journal of your symptoms, you know, on a daily basis.
It's outrageous.
And then you've got your log there as well, so you can say, you know, this is how I felt today, this is what I'm feeling, you know, obviously, when you go and see somebody, they obviously don't know what you're feeling, because it's your body, and you know your own body, so you know when you get in pain, or
and it must be awful to be in pain all the time.
Constantly. So then you're thinking, why have I got all this pain? What am I dealing with? And you know, taking all the pain.
I suppose it can break relationships down as well, because it's mentally a massive mental strain.
And it has.
And then it, like, obviously can destroy your sex life, so it's actually damaging, isn't it? Life-changing, damaging, horrific situation that women have been put in.
Definitely, Lynn. A lot of women have said, you know, their relationships have broken down, their husbands have gone, they've lost their husband, they've lost everything. Some ladies have said that the husband's been really, you know, good, and they haven't gone or anything. They've just been supportive, and so. But for a few, they've lost everything, because you know, it destroys their body, their mental health, everything. You know,
Lynn's just asked, are they still allowed to do this operation? They are in some places, but not others, isn't it?
It's suspended in Scotland, I believe. It's been suspended for the past 4 years, 3 to 4 years. So it's not banned in Scotland, but it's suspended. It is banned in America, so I think Australia, so different parts of the world. So
they're still doing it here, aren't they?
They're still doing it here, yeah.
It needs banned, doesn't it?
They are still performing this operation, today. So.
And all to save money?
It's putting
Oh,
putting
but it's
the
not.
wrong one. It's not saving money.
No, it's ridiculous.
Again, if everybody reports to the yellow card as well then,
Yeah.
so if anyone is suffering with any symptoms, if they've had the mesh implant, to register with the yellow card, and that is reporting any symptoms, and they collate all that, so then they can see in different parts of the world and
what's
what's going on and how many people are actually suffering symptoms. And there's also a map on the internet as well, so people are putting their details in, so you can see the map where everyone is that's suffering with mesh implants. So there's quite a lot out there that are suffering, and a lot still suffering in silence and not aware of the mesh campaign. So this is all that we're doing, is making people aware, raising awareness.
I wasn't aware of it until you said.
On a sensitive subject, but you know, hopefully some ladies out there will be glad of the awareness that we've raised.
Lynn's just said again, she thinks it should be banned everywhere. Yeah, I do.
And hopefully it will do. Hopefully one day it will, because there's too many people suffering, you know, like I say, in silence, and there's lots of people.
Shouldn't be allowed. It's like inhumane, isn't it? It is.
They're calling it barbaric.
Unbelievable.
So there's lots getting the TVT removed. So it's TVT, tension-free vaginal tape, or a mesh, and also for hernia as well. So
they use it for hernia as well?
If you have a hernia, they can put the mesh in as well. So it's even, be mindful if you've got a hernia, what mesh they're putting in, if they're putting mesh in.
Days.
So it's people suffering with hernia as well, and you know, stress incontinence. So it's just being mindful what mesh they're using. Just ask lots of questions, and do your homework firstly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's been great having you on the show.
Thank you.
We're coming to the end now. It's not been great to hear that you're suffering so
No,
bad,
no.
but it's very
Thank
brave
you.
of you to come on and raise awareness for
Yeah.
other people and
Yeah.
help other people out through talking about your own situation, which can't be easy to talk about. But thank you for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Lynn.
So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you could share the video and spread awareness, that would be brilliant. And obviously tune in to Loose Ladies Sunday, 6 o'clock, I think then. I'll say bye from that. I'm tongue tied for now. Bye everyone.
Bye.